Welcome to the next video on my tree identifying series. Today we will look at the nut trees, beginning with the chestnuts. Of the 10 worldwide chestnuts, only one is native to Canada. Chestnuts used to grow up to 100 feet, but now, more commonly, are just 30 feet and 6 inches in diameter. It is a southern Ontario species, ranging from the western end of Lake Ontario to south of Lake Huron and north of Lake Erie. Like the beech leaf, the chestnut has a tooth at the end of every vein, but the shape of the leaf is much more elongated in the chestnut. The chestnut leaf is also the only simple leaf in the nut category. All the others have compound leaves. The twig is stout and reddish-brown with a cluster of buds at the end. The bark is smooth and dark brown, becoming separated into broad, flat-topped ridges. The nut is encased in a spiny, burr-like husk. Except for harvesting nuts, it has no other commercial value, and the firewood rating of only 15. Of the 5 native hickories, only 2 are common enough to comment on. The shagbark hickory, or Carya ovate, is the most common, with a range along the north shore of St. Lawrence River from Montreal to the southwest corner of Ontario. It grows to 60 or 80 feet with diameters up to 2 feet. The leaves are compound and usually have 5 leaflets, but sometimes 7. Can also be found and are about 10 inches long. The twigs are stout and shiny and either reddish or grayish brown. The bark is dark gray and separates into long, shaggy plates, giving its shaggy appearance. The nut is protected by a thick, woody husk. It was the preferred tree for making spokes of carriage wheels, and it has a good firewood rating at 26. The bitternut hickory, or Carya cordiformis, has about the same range as the shagbark hickory, but only grows to 50 or 60 feet and 1 to 1.5 foot diameters. The leaves are also compound with 7 to 11 leaflets. The leaf is about 9 inches long with very tiny teeth along the leaflet margins. The twigs are slender and smooth and slightly hairy. The bark is greenish-gray and always tight-fitting with shallow fissures. The nut is encased in a thin husk. It is an excellent wood for smoking foods and has a firewood rating of 28. The other 3 hickories are the Big Shell hickory, limited only to a small pocket near Lake St. Clair, the Butternut hickory in the same limited area as the Big Shell, and the Bitternut hickory around the Niagara region. The horse chestnut, or Aesculus hippocastrum, has no relation to chestnuts and is usually found in cities and towns as an ornamental because of its flowers. The leaf is compound and palmate, meaning it looks like the shape of a hand, with 5 leaflets, widest about 3/4 up the leaflet. The twigs are grayish-red with a prominent chocolate-brown terminal bud. The bark is gray and scaly. The nut is encased in a spiny husk. The horse chestnut is made into supplements that can relieve hemorrhoids and other health benefits. The butternut, or Juglans cinerea, also known as the white walnut, is found throughout most of southern eastern Canada, from New Brunswick to southern Ontario. It can reach 70 feet in height and even 3 feet in diameter. The leaves are compound and 15 inches long. The leaflets are almost opposite each other on leaf stalks with almost no stalk on the leaflets. There are from 11 to 17 leaflets on the stalk and always has a single terminal leaflet. The twigs are buff-colored and hairy. The lateral buds are tiny and more rounded than the terminal bud. The nuts form opposite each other and have no noticeable stalks. The bark is gray and separated by narrow, shallow, dark crevices into wide, irregular, flat-topped ridges. The black walnut, or Juglans nigra, is native only to southern Ontario, between Lake Ontario and Lake Huron and north of Lake Erie. Having said that, I had a professor at Forestry College who was successful in growing 3 acres of black walnut in a microclimate on St. Joseph's Island near Sault Ste. Marie. This plantation was about 3 feet tall when he told me a sad story. He said that there was about 4 feet of snow over his plantation and skidoos crisscrossed the plantation, ruining most of his trees. The black walnut trees can reach 90 feet with diameters up to 3 feet. The leaves are also compound, but the leaflets do not appear opposite each other on the leaf stalks as in the butternut or white walnut. The leaflets are also on tiny stalks, unlike the butternut with no leaflet stalks. The leaves are about 12 inches long and up to 23 leaflets on each stalk. The twigs are faintly hairy and orangey brown, with terminal bud being blunt. The lateral buds usually have more than one rounded bud together. The bark is light brown and scaly when young. As the tree matures, the bark gets darker with rounded intersecting ridges. The wood is most valued for veneer, but supply is very limited. A good black walnut tree can sell for over $5,000. Like the leaflets, the nuts also have small stalks and also develop opposite each other. In conclusion, though mostly limited to southern Ontario, the nut trees are very important as they have varied uses such as harvesting the nuts, smoking meats, using as firewood, and in the case of the black walnut, making expensive veneers or furniture. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you can join me on the next video, which will be looking at the oaks. Thanks again.